Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about questions that you can ask when you are a first-time substitute teacher. The reason I decided to give you this video with a list of questions that you can ask is because more than likely you are going to have questions. And as you know, as a new substitute teacher, it's very nerve-wracking, and that's 100% understandable. So I figured, why not give you a list of questions that you can ask, and I have them kind of organized in who you can ask, and then some questions at the end would be questions like you don't have to ask out loud. They're just like subconscious questions. But okay, let's get into it. So the first ones are for like really the secretaries or the office, the principal. Who do I contact for support during the day? So this one's a critical one, especially because if you have behaviors in the classroom, you're going to need to call someone. It might be the principal, but if the principal isn't available, maybe it would be the vice principal. I couldn't think of the name. It could be a special education teacher, someone along those lines. And so if you understand that, then you will be able to be successful with that. Now, the teachers should have who to contact in their sub notes for you. Where is the substitute folder located within the classroom? Now, the first thing is, when you go into the classroom, walk into the classroom and look for it. I don't mean to sound very like rude when I say that, but sometimes people don't have common sense. And I'm not saying you don't have common sense, but just use your common sense in this time and day. They most likely will be on the desk. Some schools have the sub lessons and everything for you in the office in a folder already for you. So it is important that you do ask. What is the protocol for emergencies? This one is essential today, especially with lockdowns and lockdown drills. I would suggest, if you are very nervous, and understandably so, every single person in the United States now is very nervous. You don't even have to be in a school to feel scared about these situations, but you need to know, you need to be aware of your surroundings, and you need to know the policies and the procedures. Go through a lockdown drill. Don't ever cancel. If you know that there's going to be a lockdown drill, go through it. You need to practice it. My suggestion is to talk to the principals, to talk to the other teachers, and know the lingo. I have a video that I can put right here for you so that you can watch a general video on lockdown drills. Are there specific rules that I should be aware of? Now, again, these will be in the lesson plans, should be at least, but a lot of the times it could be something as a cell phone role that they have for high school. And a lot of the times you're just gonna have to pick your battles with those type of rules, but try to follow that rule as much as possible. And I'm sure other teachers and people will help you out as well. Here are some questions for neighboring teachers that you can ask. Who are the key students to watch out for? What are their behaviors? Are the students on an IEP that I should know of? Allergies that I should know of? Things along those lines. Again, these will and should be in the lesson plans for you, the sub binder, whatever the teacher provides. But these are good measures to ask. I'm sure that the neighboring teacher would know these, especially if they teach the same students. What's the usual classroom routine? Now, with this question, it's important to know that their routine. However, I think it's good to know it and ahead of time say, hey, they come in, they put their coats away, and they get their folders and they set them in the morning section of my room, and then whatever. And then they go to the board and they write their name and then they sit down. Like it could be anything, but knowing that ahead of time helps. And a lot of the times You don't even have to like do anything because the students are so already at this level. They're so, or at this stage in the school year, they're so set on their routine that it's just natural. It's just like us waking up and doing our morning routine to get ready. So that's like an easy part, but it's a good thing to know it. How does dismissal work? Now, I would ask this question because dismissal time can be chaotic. It doesn't have to be, but it can be chaotic. And you're gonna make mistakes, and that's fine. And then sometimes there's gonna be teachers who snap at you because you didn't do it right. You lined up a minute beforehand. Oh my gosh, what a bad person you are. Anyways, it's important to know it and to try to keep that same routine that the students do. So ask. And again, I'm sure you will be sick of this phrase. It should be in the lesson plan, and it really honestly should be in the lesson plan. But if you have any questions on like the detail of it, then ask. I know for me, I like to read it, but I'm also a very like kinesthetic person. I have to like go through it, and then I'm like, oh crap, I have a question about this, or I don't know. I'm visual too. So like I have to see it, if that even makes sense for dismissal. What's the best way to redirect students who are off task? Now, this is going to be different for each and every one of you in class management and how you do that. But if you really, really just want to know or have advice on that, the neighboring teachers will be so happy to give you advice on a class management tip that could work for either a certain student or a couple students or for the entire class. So never be afraid to ask that. Questions for students. Now, be careful when you ask kids questions. So what I mean by that is if you are in kindergarten and you say, what does your teacher do with this? Well, all 25 of those kids are gonna come to you. And like, no. Yes, no. You're gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, I should not have asked that question. I would suggest asking like a few students at a time, maybe not so loud that everybody hears it. You can say like, hey Alexa, you're sitting on the carpet, and like, hey Alexa, what does your teacher do from here? Or something along those lines, if you really have a question. But if you're really wanting to engage them, you really could ask them what their routine is for the start of math class. Simple as that. And they will be like, oh, we go and get our books and then we sit on the carpet. Or they know and they like to be the little helper, especially in elementary school. In high school, you can ask them questions. What I did for the high school students is, I'm sitting on my son's like little nugget couch that he got. It's really comfortable and I love it. And this statement is from my late father-in-law, and so make something happen. Anyways, back to it. I'm off task. When a student comes in for high school, even middle school, and because it takes them a couple minutes to get to class, and you don't know something or you don't understand something, you can ask a student, say, hey, do you mind pulling up your Blackboard so I can see the assignment? The teacher didn't leave it for me. Something along those lines. And they're mostly like, oh yeah, sure, this is what we're doing for the day. So I hope that gives you some help with that. And other questions for the students, I don't really have any more that I would really ask them with the day. But I would say ask them questions and engage with them. If you see a student who has on a Pokemon shirt and you are like, oh, hey, I used to like have the trading cards and stuff, make a connection with them. If you see a student with an NBA shirt on and you were a basketball player, talk to them, get to know them a little bit and building that rapport, even though you're there for one day, it makes a huge difference. You don't know what that student went through that morning just to get to school. And then they found out that their teacher wasn't there, who they are feel very safe with. And so when you start to make them feel welcome and make them feel safe, they're going to do so much better for you. So here are some wrap up questions. These are more for like your own mind for the end of the day, and just things to think of for like where you put the lesson plans and all that. Is there anything that I need to leave for the teacher? So there will be things that you need to leave for the teacher. Who behaved well? Who did not behave well? Where you left off in the lesson plan? What didn't make it in the lesson plan? Did someone get sick in class? Write that down. Who was absent in class? Because most of the times, if you were handing out a worksheet, the teachers the next day will get like, okay, like they might have a system and say, okay, Alexa wasn't here, Jason wasn't here, and Max wasn't here. So I'll put them in this section, and when they come in, I'll remind them to get their work out, and then that would be like their homework for the night or something like that. How do I submit my end of the day report? This one, so I've had questions on this from substitute teachers before, and I do think that some of you guys do reports through like Frontline or something, and you are able to say like, this went well, whatever. And then you see reports back from a teacher, which is very interesting because I never had that. But I would say if there's anything, that's probably something you could ask your sub coordinator for. They would probably be the one to answer that question. But if you know about that, if you're in like Kelly Education or ESS or any of those, they will direct you to that. But most of the time, you can put that end of the day report where you saw the sub binder, the sub notes, and that way the teacher will be able to get that. Who do I check out with before leaving? You will hopefully be given keys so that you can open the door. And you'll have to go back there to give them the keys, or some people like have to keep their license in the office and whatever. So most of the time you're going back to the office to like sign out. So it's probably the same way that you signed in. So that's why I meant a lot of these questions and stuff are common sense. So yeah. I really hope that this helps, especially if you are a newbie at substitute teaching and you do want to do well. And so these are not dumb questions at all. These are questions that actually I get asked from new substitute teachers, like just general questions. So, and I would say I probably have asked these questions as well. So go ahead and check out the lockdown drill video that I have for you. And next week, we will be talking about when you have behaviors in class. I will see you there.